Right now we are talking with the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, who shows, and you see the Audi A3 scoreboard, nothing has a career in TV, because that was a great tease about the taskmaster about how you signed the baseball.
Well, so literally the day after the election in Baltimore, Howard Smith, longtime baseball employee, good friend of both Al's and mine, shows up in my office. He's got a mitt full of pens and these index cards, and he says, you know, we need to get all-star balls out into the market. You got to sign for me. Well, I had to sign for 45 minutes before Howard would take a signature that was acceptable to him. And so it was a lot of work, but he did a great job. He did 4 mock-ups, and then you actually get to pick the one that you like the way it looks.
And you like how it looks?
I do. And I try to make sure when I sign a ball that it looks something like the signature on there. So it's...
Beltran makes the play for the first out. Now, I have to ask you this. I know you've said publicly that you enjoy watching Bartolo Colon hit. It's entertaining.
I did.
Do you think that DH...
hit or run?
We will never see the DH in the National League, at least until Colon retires?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I have never been bothered by the idea that there's a little difference between the two leagues. I love to hear people fight about it, and you know, I'm a big one for the idea that if people are talking about baseball, it's good for all of us. And I think it's a great source of debate. I think there's a number of owners in the National League that would be very reluctant to move to the DH, and I can't ever see us getting rid of the DH, at least not now when we're in a period where people are talking about a lack of offense.
Well, you know, I felt that way as well, Rob, as a pitcher. Obviously, I'd rather in the National League pitch against another pitcher, but does it possibly take more instances of a great pitcher than an Adam Wainwright or somebody, you know, we saw a few years ago with Chim-Ming Wong, who got hurt hitting? You know, does it hurt a club owner when it starts hurting the pocketbook when you have aces that go down, or it's still...
It's interesting. I think you put your finger on what sparked the current conversation about the DH. You know, Wainwright getting hurt like that, obviously, you know, it causes concern among people, but my guess is Bill DeWitt would be no on the DH. Adam Wainwright injury or not. That's my guess.
Does it have to be a total vote? I mean, just everybody has to agree on it?
Well, no, the National League would have to. Now you're asking me a hard question.
Yeah, well, I mean,
look at the bylaws.
I'd have to look at that one.
Okay.
But I think it's a National League issue, really.
And also the Players Association has to approve it, too.
And that would be a rule change that would be mandatory. And generally, I think the Players Association been cooperative on this issue. They're fine with the status quo. I think eliminating DH jobs would be a problem for them, and they'd probably be in favor of expanding it.
Danny Espinosa at the plate. What's the greatest initiative right now for your office? What are you trying to do that's foremost on your mind?
Clearly, the biggest thing is our focus on young people. We feel that the research shows that youth participation is determinant of whether you're a fan, and the youth space is so competitive right now. I mean, with my own kids, I saw it. They have so many more alternatives, and maybe even more troubling, if you're good in one sport, the coaches in that sport want you to play one sport all year round. And it makes the space very, very competitive. And we need to make sure, we need to work with the great youth organizations we have out there to make sure that we're getting our share of kids playing our game.
Is that also your biggest concern, or other things concern you about the game?
Well, no, that is really my biggest concern. I want to make sure that at the end of my term, we've taken steps to make sure that the game gets passed on to the next generation the same way it was passed on to us.
So Danny Espinosa doubles to left field. That's the first base runner for the Nationals against Nathan Eovaldi, who will be working out of the stretch for the first time against Denard Span. We're talking with the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, in his first season at the job. You've got such a high-profile job, and you're the steward of this great American treasure. Do you ever sit back and go, wow, I'm the commissioner of Major League Baseball?
Yes, more than you might think.
Really?
I mean, it takes a very long time, I think, to get adjusted to the idea that you've been entrusted with what I think is the best job. I really do think is the best job in the world, and a great responsibility for something that's an important part of our culture, not just a game, not just a sport.
Well, you've been around it a long time. How long have you been at the commissioner's office?
I came inside in 1998, and I started as an outside lawyer in 1987. So it's been a long time, and I've benefited tremendously from being around the game, observing Commissioner Seelig. Had some painful lessons early on, but
Denard Span slaps a double down the left field line. That will score Espinosa, and the Nationals take a 1-0 lead. So a couple of doubles with 2 outs put the Nationals on the board.
From the standpoint of 30 teams and being the commissioner of baseball, it's got to be difficult to keep everybody happy. That's the way I would think.
It's interesting. I think when you start focusing on keeping everybody happy, you can get a little bit off track. I think you need to focus on the merits of the issues that come in front of you. And, our owner group is actually a good group. I think they believe if you're deciding things on the merits, whether they like this decision or that decision, they hang with you over the long haul.
Rondon takes a strike from Eovaldi. Double by Espinosa, double by Span, and it's 1-0 Nationals over the Yankees here in the top of the third. Rondon with a pop-up to second. That was in the first inning. Span leads off second. And there's a ground ball to third. Headley across the diamond, and that will do it. Commissioner, great to see you. As always, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, guys.
That is Rob Manfred.